Welcome back to Sharon's table. Sha'Carri Richardson, we know her, we love her. She's feisty. She's made some mistakes and owned them. The sprinter was banned from the summer games because of a positive marijuana test. And then there comes this young lady, right? Russia's Kamila Valieva. Maybe I'm saying it right. She's set to win gold at the Winter Olympics. She's being allowed to compete despite testing positive for a banned substance last month, one that we should add reportedly helps one's endurance. If you're healthy and you take this heart medication, it can help your endurance. I don't know what weed does to an American sprinter. I don't think it makes her faster, but you know. But so Brittney, let's go there. The Russian skaters, age 16, allowed to compete. Well, 15. Mistakes happen. She's a minor. I'm hearing all kinds of apologies for her. And yeah, she is a minor. And I wonder how you feel about the double standard, because Sha'Carri Richardson called it out and said the only difference is I'm a black girl.
That is, in fact, the only difference. And let's remember that Sha'Carri Richardson used weed because she found out kind of haphazardly that her mother had passed away while she was in the middle of competition. And I found that even within our communities, there was a stunning lack of sympathy for that. We doubled down on saying she needs to own her mistake. You know, she needs to own this. And then you have this young white girl. Part of it is about this sort of narrative of femininity that's also being touted, right? That we don't ever see white girls as skirting the line, that their femininity gives them the benefit of the doubt, makes them seem more honest. Their white skin also gives them the benefit of the doubt. Black girls show up with a little bit of swag. You know, Sha'Carri is not humble. She is, you know, very feisty and forthcoming, which I love. And so there was a desire to humble her, a desire to figure out the thing that was wrong with her. And so she is absolutely right to argue that this is racialized, and for us, we need to see that double standard and recognize that she deserved our sympathy, and that the point you made is absolutely important. Weed is not a performance enhancing drug, and none of us believes, including these Chinese officials that let this girl get away with this, that she accidentally took her granddaddy's medicine. Nobody believes that, and so the question, it's not even a credible story. So the question becomes, why is she being allowed to get away with this mistake? And how do we continue to normalize white mistakes when they're so clearly criminal acts, so clearly, skirting and flouting?
Yeah, and the stereotype is real, because we're seeing an image, another one, of a white girl who needs to be rescued. I want you to listen to what the International Olympic Committee had to say about the cases. They're trying to explain it.
In terms of Ms. Richardson's case, I mean, she tested positive on the 19th of June, quite a way ahead of the Games. The results came in early order for USADA to deal with the case on time before the Games. Ms. Richardson accepted a 1-month period of ineligibility, which began on June the 28th. So I would suggest that there isn't a great deal of similarity between the two cases.
You can suggest it all he wants, but we know what our eyes see, Ameshia. It's clearly a double standard here, yes?
It's absolutely a double standard, and the IOC isn't helping itself. One, this is the same IOC that ruled that Russia had its own mainstream doping incident just a couple of Olympic seasons ago, which disqualified a majority of their Olympians. So we know that they as a nation have an issue as it relates to trying to get PIDs in the Olympics, trying to ensure that they have winning athletes. There is a clause within the IOC, particularly around age. So I do think that her being 15 actually plays a role in this. Does anybody actually believe the story that was concocted about her taking her grandfather's angina medicine on accident? Absolutely not. But I don't think that a 15-year-old came up with that story. Again, this is very much devised by the Russian Olympic executives who have decided that this is what they're going to do for their athletes. We also need to dig deeper, because I would assume, looking at this, that there are possibly more athletes or more that are coming up through the ranks who are in this youth division who would be utilizing the same thing, because they think that this goes further into what Russia is doing as it relates to doping and how they see their advantage in the Olympics. With that being said, of course, this looks horrible on its face. Racial discrimination. We also can acknowledge that the drug that was found in this young girl's system is a performance enhancing drug. That is very different than what Sha'Carri's situation was. Weed is not a performance enhancing drug, never has been, never will be. If anything, it will slow you down. It was definitely not going to make her faster. With that being said, as someone who also lost my mom at the same age Sha'Carri lost hers, when you are in that vein and you have to get up and you have to perform day in and day out, your reaction is going to be different. I think that we as a people needed to provide her more grace during that time, but also look forward to what the Olympics are going to do now, because absolutely they could pull this young girl out. Many Olympians who are gold medalists, black, white, and otherwise, have called for her to be pulled out, not only because of the Sha'Carri incident and how we saw that roll out, but also because this puts a very bad taste in the Olympics. At the end of the day, people do not want to compete against someone who they know took a performance enhancing drugs, regardless of their race. In addition to that, it totally nullifies, if she is allowed to proceed and win anything, it nullifies a victory, because we know that this makes her faster. We know that this performance enhancing drug improves her agility. There are reasons why she should not be there.
Yeah, I mean, what's next? They're going to take a gold medal from a Canadian pair of skaters and give it to Russians? I mean, Candace, what more can be done here? Is there anything that people can do except complain publicly?
Well, listen, complaining is the first thing, because as we know, during COVID, grandfathers and granddaughters, they're not sharing cups. So we know that as a fact. As Ameshia said, this was concocted by someone else. So even though they're trying to protect this 15-year-old young woman because of her age, it's just not feasible. It doesn't make any sense. Procedurally, when we talk about Sha'Carri, she needs to look at what she can do procedurally to figure out what are the differences and what rights of hers, as we already know are obvious, have been displaced. Procedurally, she didn't get the advantage. I mean, look what they're doing with this young woman right now, where she's able to win gold, and then maybe down the line it'll be taken away, possibly. She's getting a lot of benefits of the doubt. So Sha'Carri needs to look at how she was similarly situated, and then how she was treated different, and then figure out, in terms of the IOC and the Court of Arbitration for Sport, what she needs to do, maybe in order to file some action against them for the way that they have handled cases that are similar, that the only difference is that she is a Black woman. And as we already talked about, this was someone who was taking a drug that was enhancing her particular, what she could do. But Sha'Carri, was a totally different thing. That is not what THC does. So procedurally, legally, I think that she has something that she can do.
Yeah, try to box them in, because the IOC ladies, we're out of time, but they're just all over the place. They're very, very wiggly, if you will. The only time they're decisive, it seems, is if somebody's threatening to take a knee, raise a fist in there. Then they're all over it, okay? That is, you will be banned. You will be sent home. But you take this angina, right? Angina medication, Ameshia. It's ridiculous. I love you, ladies. Ameshia, Candace, Brittney. I just like saying the word angina medication. This girl, come on now. Come on, stop. Russia, we see you. And IOC, we see you. And we'll see you back here next week for Sharon's Table. It's my favorite, 20, 25 minutes of the week. Much more. Start your day right after the break.